Hello everyone, this is Math 0028, Section 2.1, and this is the U-try problems. So here we go. On letter A on this slide, they want us to rewrite the polynomial in descending order. Tell if it's a polynomial, well, basically is it a monomial, binomial, or trinomial, and also tell the degree. So in letter A, we have 7x squared minus 2x to the fifth. Descending order means that you're going to put it in order with the exponents going from largest to smallest. So this one is not in descending order. We need to put the negative 2x to the fifth first because the 5 is bigger than the 2 on the exponents, and then plus 7x squared. Now, to classify it, that has two terms, so that is a binomial. I'm going to abbreviate, not write out that whole word. And they want to know the degree. When it's all in one variable, the degree is your largest exponent. So the degree would be 5. All right, on letter B, we're going to start and look for descending order. So our biggest exponent term is 9x to the fifth. So that's going to come first. Then minus 6x to the third, and then minus 12. Constants, numbers without any variables, will always be at the end when they're in descending order. Now this polynomial has three terms, so that makes it a trinomial. And if you look for the degree, again the largest exponent was 5. Okay, letter C. Here, look through the polynomial. Our biggest exponent is x to the fourth. So that's going to come first. Then the next exponent down, the next smallest would be 7x squared. So we want that square there to go next. Then we would have plus, because it's a positive 4x, and then minus 5. Now, this expression has 4 terms. So it doesn't have a special name as far as monomial, binomial, or trinomial. It is just considered a polynomial. Okay, even though that's also the parent name or the umbrella name for all of them. They're all polynomials. But that one just doesn't have a fancy name. Okay, and the degree there, the largest exponent, is 4. Now, on D, we only have one term, so you can't put it in descending order. It is just itself. It's just fine the way it is. Now, since it's just one term, then that is a monomial. Okay. Oh, and one note about the letters here. Some people say, well, why didn't you put the z to the third and then y squared and x? Excuse me, when it's all one term, you don't worry about putting the exponents and the bases within the term in order. Usually they put them in alphabetical order. So like this, x, y, z. So you don't have to worry about messing around with it when it's just one term. Now, to get the degree of that term, you have to add the exponents. And remember, there's a 1 on that x. So you have 1 plus 2 is 3 plus 3. So the degree would be 6. Okay? All right, now the rest of the problems I think on this section are adding and subtracting polynomials. Now, in the lessons you probably saw how to do them both in the vertical format and in the horizontal format. So I'm going to kind of do a mix of both of those so that you can see both formats. We're going to do the first one in the vertical format because this one lines up nice and neat. We're going to bring 3x squared up underneath negative 6x squared, and then plus x under the 7x, and plus 3 under the 3. So what I did was I brought the second polynomial up underneath the first, and now I'm going to add like terms. So negative 6 plus 3 would be negative 3x squared. 7x plus x, remember that coefficient's a 1, that's going to give you 8x, and 3 plus 3 would be plus 6. So there's your answer. Excuse me. So on letter F, you have to be careful here because it's subtraction. So the rule is you keep the first polynomial the same, and you're going to basically do same change opposite. You're going to add and then change that sign to addition and take the opposite of everything in the second parentheses. So the second polynomial you have to change all the signs. So it becomes negative x squared plus 10x. All right, so this one also lines up nice for the vertical format. So let's do that one vertically. So I'm going to put negative x squared underneath x squared and plus 10x underneath the negative 6x. Now, when I add them up, x squared and negative x squared, they cancel completely. They're gone. That's 0. And then negative 6 plus 10 would just give me 4x. So your final answer is very simple, just 4x. On letter G, we are adding polynomials. Okay, so always make sure you look at the sign in between the two polynomials to see what operation they want you to do. Now, this one actually lends itself to the horizontal format a little bit easier, so we'll do this one horizontally. Basically, when you do the horizontal format, what you do is you look and try and find the largest exponents and then combine like terms. So I've got 3y to the third, and I've got negative 4y to the third. So those are like terms. I'm going to combine those. 3 and negative 4 gives me negative 1y to the third, which can also just be written as negative y to the third. Okay? And a lot of times in WebAssign, they don't like you to write the 1. Even though technically it's there, the simplest form is considered just negative y to the third. So be careful about that. Now, one thing I like to do is cross them off as I go along, because a lot of times it's not that you don't know what you're doing. You skip over terms or you drop a term, and that's when you end up getting a wrong answer. So the next thing we want to do is look and find the next largest exponent down, which would be y squared. There aren't any other y squared terms, so you just bring that y squared down, so plus y squared. And I'm just going to keep writing it down underneath to have like the final simplest form underneath there. So that takes care of our y squared term. Now we also have just a negative 6y, no other y terms, so that also just comes down. So once again, just writing it in our final answer there. So that's gone. And we have 1 and negative 3. If you combine those, 1 minus 3 gives you negative 2, and that would finish up your answer. Okay? So most teachers would not mark you wrong if you put the negative 1 there, but in WebAssign I know they do like to not have the 1 written, so just be careful about that coefficient. All right, let's look at H. Here it's subtraction. So once again, keep the first one the same, and I'm going to be lazy because that's just how I roll. You keep the first one the same, and you're going to change the subtraction sign to addition. Sorry, that's kind of messy. And you're going to change the sign of every term in the second polynomial. So that becomes plus, and that's going to become a negative. So it's kind of weird looking, but if we look for the largest exponent, we're going to do this one in the horizontal format also. That would be negative 4y to the third. There's no other y cubes, so I'm going to just bring that down, negative 4y cubed. So that's gone. Now, if you look at the y squares, I've got two terms that have y squared. 7 and negative 9 would give me negative 2y squared, because you just combined those. So those are gone. Now we've got y's, so make this like a little squiggly thing here. Okay, I've got 8y and 5y would give me positive 13y, so those are gone. And then the last term, 2 and a negative 6, is negative 4. So there you go. So you just have to be careful. If it's addition, you do not change any signs. If it's subtraction, you change the sign in the middle to addition, and you change the sign of every term in the second polynomial. Okay? All right, so here's two more. For addition on the first one, now a lot of people think that the second polynomial here, 6x squared minus 2xy plus 4y squared, they think that's not in descending order, but this is one of those good old exceptions to the rule. You know how we tell you a rule and then we go, oh, but wait, not in this case. Okay, kind of like English, right? I before E, except after C. So here, when you've got the x squared and y squared, and there's two squared terms, the xy term, it is correct to write it in the middle. I know that looks weird to a lot of people, but when you flip it and put the y squared in the middle and the xy at the end, that looks weird to us because we're nerds. So just leave it alone. I know that's strange. And actually this one is going to be a lot easier to do horizontally. So I'm going to do this problem in the horizontal format. Okay, so I want to add 2x squared and 6x squared. So that's going to give me 8x squared. So those are my like terms right there. They are gone. Now, I know the next term is the 4y squared, but I want to go ahead and put the 2xy in the middle because that's where it is considered the correct way to write that, okay? So the negative 2xy, there's no other xy term, so I just bring that down, negative 2xy. Done. Now, the last term, negative 4y squared and positive 4y squared, well, those are exact opposites. They completely cancel out to 0. So your answer is just 8x squared minus 2xy. All right? And letter J. Here it's subtraction again. So we keep the first one the same, and I'm going to change, being lazy again, the sign in the middle to plus. This is going to become positive 3y squared, positive y, and positive 2 all the way across. So you change the signs of everything in the second polynomial. Now, this one is nice for the vertical format. So I'm going to take the second polynomial, put it up underneath the first one. So I have 3y squared plus y plus 2. So those all come underneath there. And they lined up nice and neat. So 5y squared and 3y squared is 8y squared. And negative 2y plus, remember that's a 1, plus 1y would give me negative 1y, or just negative y, remember the simplest form. And then 1 plus 2 is a positive 3. And I think that that is it for 2.1. Yep, that's it. Have a great day.